All right, James Creedon has joined us on set. That means it's time for Media Watch. Good evening, James.
Good evening, Cyril.
We start with buzz online over Greece's early elections.
That's right. You can see a lot of news coverage of it, including on our own website. A lot of reaction as well, Cyril, to the IMF's announcement that they will be stopping funding Greece until things clarify there on the political front. A lot of echoes of that across social media. Some just factual, such as this one: Greece faces no immediate financing needs, or at least that's simply taking the IMF's explanation for that decision. Others a little bit more cynical about the IMF decision, saying that it amounts to blackmailing Greece into submission. It's all about signalling. So I have to say, on social media, if you're looking for comment on the IMF and on Greece today, it's pretty critical of the IMF, certainly in the English language at least. IMF suspends aid to Greece ahead of new elections, preparing the ground for the EU to interfere in the elections. So a lot of people really felt that the IMF announcement and the timing of it was perhaps in some cases a little bit cynical. Greece rejects a Eurocrat as president. Excellent, says another Greek commenter on social media. So really a lot of it is anti-European and anti-IMF on social media.
Which stands to reason that the polls are favouring the anti-European, anti-austerity coalition.
That's right. So I think a reflection of that. Meanwhile, French politicians on the far left and far right singing off the same hymn sheet, surprisingly or unsurprisingly maybe when it comes to this issue. At last, the chains are going to break, says the former leader of the far left party in France, Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Greece is going to free itself. Quick, our turn next, he says. Meanwhile, Marine Le Pen on the far right saying it's a happy day for democracy, the winds of democracy blowing on Greece after this announcement about presidential elections.
All right, next, let's turn to something else that's been making the headlines that we've been looking at in the news. The one-year anniversary since 3 Al Jazeera journalists were taken captive by the Egyptian authorities. Social media, of course, has played a big role in trying to get them released from jail. Journalism is not a crime being the main slogan on Twitter and the main hashtag there.
That's right, and in protests as well today to draw attention to that campaign with those various slogans: journalism is not a crime, free AJ staff, and really across many different media this has been a slogan or a rally cry that has been taken up. For example, here you can see one of Al Jazeera's shows, The Listening Post, interviewing Alan Johnston of the BBC. So really this is across many different media, this appeal, and you can see here slogans and images such as this one showing journalists with their eyes, or well, a man with his eyes covered and his mouth taped. In other words, this is an attempt to silence the freedom of speech and the freedom of information. Now, a poll, or rather a petition, has been also put up on change.org. Up to now, not gathering a huge amount of signatures, between 2,000 and 3,000 signatures, and it has been up for a couple of weeks. So a lot of people plugging that online today as well, appealing for the three men to be freed at 365 days on. So a lot of stuff online about that, and indeed our own some echoes of an interview conducted by France 24 going back a number of weeks ago, during which President Sisi did seem to give some sign that at least some of the journalists would be freed. This is a tweet from New Zealand, rather, encouraging people to send their wishes for these journalists to be freed to the Egyptian embassy there. And one more hashtag that is being used today to draw attention to the fact that it is 1 year now: free them now. So free Al Jazeera staff and free them now.
All right, that is something we're looking at, of course, in the news, and we'll be covering the beginning of their appeal, which starts just later this week. All right, finally, Bahrain opposition groups and Shiite clerics have been protesting today. What do you have on that?
All right, well, the leader of the opposition, Sheikh Ali Salman, he has been taken into police custody, Cyril, and a lot of outrage amongst his supporters being expressed across social media. The Wefaq Society, which is the party that he represents, has been sharing images on their Twitter page of the supporters, hundreds who came out onto the streets of Shiite villages across Bahrain late on Sunday and into today, prompting clashes indeed with security forces. And we have quite a few examples of those images across social media. And as this hashtag on the demotics.com website says, rage all over Bahrain after the arrest of the main opposition leader. And you can see, they have also a selection of images on their website showing protests in Bahrain over that arrest, Cyril.
All right, James Creedon with MediaWatch telling us everything that's happening and keeping us abreast of developments on social media and on the internet. Thank you very much, James. Thanks. All right, let's turn to our focus segment this evening. Since